Hello everyone, this is the third grade enhanced math week 16 multiplication of two-digit numbers solution video. Below are examples of vertical multiplication. For example, the first one, we have 12 times 23. For vertical multiplication, we have to multiply the top number and the bottom units to digit number first. 12 times 3 equals 36. So that's 36. So we write 36 down at the bottom first. And then once we multiply the 3, the 23 essentially is just made up of 3 plus 20. So we can just change the 3 to a 0. And then all we have to do is multiply 12 and 2 together, which is 24. And 24, add on the 0 at the end. So this add on to 204. So all we have to do is plug in a 0 right here. That gives us 276, which is right there. We can also do another one. Let's do another example. 25 times 6, again, 25 times 6, we have 150, which is the top number, multiply the units digit at the bottom. And then 25 times 10, that is just 250, but the 0 we don't put there because there's no essential value. So again, 150 plus 250, that's just 400. This method is based on the distributive property of multiplication. For example, 12 times 23 equals to 12 times, in parentheses, 20 plus 3, equals to 12 times 20 plus 12 times 3 equals to 240 plus 36, which is 276, like we did above. Problem 1. Compute the following using mental calculation. 20 times 10. This is very easy because all we have to do is multiply the numbers together, the numbers that are not 0. So 2 times 1, that is just 2. Add on the zeros at the end. Since there's 2 zeros, we just add 2 zeros at the end, 200. 12 times 20, we just multiply 12 and 2 together. So 24, add on the 0 from the 20, 240. 15 times 60, we just multiply 15 and 6 together, 90. Add on the 0 from the 60, 900. 30 times 30, easy. 3 times 3, 9. Add on the 2 zeros, 900. 42 times 50, we multiply 42 and 5 together. We first multiply 42 times 5. 2 times 5 equals to 10. Carry over the 1. 4 times 5, 20, 21. So 210, we add on the 0 from the 50, 2100. And finally, 72 times 40, we essentially just do 72 times 4. So 72 times 4, 2 times 4 equals to 8, 7 times 4 equals to 28. So 288, add the 0 from the 40, 2,880. And that's problem 1. Problem 2, use vertical method to compute the following. We do 15 times 15 first. So 15 times 15. We do 15 times 5 first. So 5 times 5 equals to 25. Carry over the 2. 1 times 5 is 75. And then the 10 at the bottom is changed to 10 since we already multiplied the 5. So 15 times 1 is just 15. Add back the 0 at the bottom. So 5 plus 0 equals to 5. 7 plus 5 equals to 2. Add back the 1 at the hundreds place. So 1 plus 1 equals to 2. 225. Next one, 24 times 25. We can multiply 24 by 5 first. 4 times 5, we already start from the right side. 4 times 5 equals to 20. Carry over the 2. 2 times 5 equals to 10, plus 2 equals to 12. And then 25 becomes 20, drop down to 0, and then 24 times 2 equals to 48. We can just add these together and eventually 600. Next one, we are dealing with 18 times 39. We do 18 times 9 first. 8 times 9 equals to 72. Carry over the 7. 1 times 9 equals to 9, plus 7 equals to 16. 39 becomes 30, drop down to 0. 18 times 3, we can do 8 times 3 first. So we do a 4 because 8 times 3 is 24. Carry over the 2. And then finally, 1 times 3 equals to 3, plus 2 equals to 5. So 2 plus 0 equals to 2, 6 plus 4 equals to 10. Carry over a 1, 1 plus 5 is 6, 6 plus 1 equals 7, 702. And let's do the next one, 23 times 27. 23 times 27. We can do 23 times 7 first. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry over the 2. 2 times 7 equals to 14. 14 plus 2 equals to 16. 27 becomes 20, and then drop down to 0, and 23 times 2 is just 46. When you add these together, 1 plus 0 is 1. 6 plus 6 equals to 12. Carry over a 1, and this is just 621. 45 plus 68. We can do 45 times 8 first. So 5 times 8 equals to 40. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 plus 4 equals to 36. And then 68 becomes 60. Drop down to 0. 5 times 6 equals to 30. So carry it over. And then 4 times 6 equals to 24. Plus 3 equals to 27. So then this would be 0. And then 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 7 equals to 10. Carry over the 1. 2 plus 1 equals to 3. So 3060. And then the last one is 82 times 93. So 82 times 93, we can always do 82 times 3 first. So 2 times 3 equals to 6, 8 times 3 equals to 24, 93 becomes 90, drop down to 0, 9 times 2 is 18, carry over a 1, 8 times 9 is 72, plus 1 equals to 73. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 4 plus 8 equals to 12, carry over a 1, and then 2 plus 3, sorry, let me line this up better. So this would be 73. 2 plus 3 equals to 5, plus 1 equals to 6, and finally the 7 drops down. So 7,626. And that is our answer. Problem 3. Luke has 18 boxes of eggs. If each box holds 12 eggs, how many eggs does Luke have in total? So since each box has 12 eggs, so one box equals to 12 eggs, and he has 18 boxes, we just have to multiply 12 by 18. So 18 times 12, 8 times 2 is 16, carry over a 1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 equals to 3. And then 12 turns into 10, so we drop down the 0. And then 18 times 1 is just 18. And then we add this together and we get 216. So 216 eggs he has. Moving on to problem 4. Nancy uses 124 centimeter iron wire to form a square. What is the area of the square? So since a square has equal sides, we just divide 124 by 4, and then we can use also the original method. So 12 divided by 4, we start with the leftmost two numbers. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and then 4 just cancels, so that gives us 1. So it's 31 by 31 square. And then we now would have to multiply 31 by 31. So we do 31 times 1 first, which is just 31. And then 31 at the bottom becomes 30. So drop down the 0, and 31 times 3 is 93. So 1, 6, and 9. So 961 centimeters squared is the area of the square. Problem 5. Leo is reading a 520-page book. He reads 24 pages every day. How many pages will be left after 3 weeks? There are 7 days in a week, so 7 days in a week. And since he reads 24 pages every day, we just multiply 7 by 24. 4 times 7 equals to 28, so carry over the 2. 2 times 7 is 14, plus the 2 is 16. And then 168, which is the weekly amount of pages read, times the 3 weeks, is 8 times 3 equals to 24, so carry over the 2. 6 times 8 is 18, plus 2 is 20, and then the 1 times 3 is 3 with a 2 added, which is 504. Then 520 minus 504, there is just 16 pages left over. So 16 pages. Problem 6. 4 teachers bought 30 textbooks. If each book costs $18 and the teachers evenly split the cost, how much did each of them need to pay? We have 30 textbooks at the start, and each of them costs 18 bucks. Therefore, we need to multiply this together. So 30 times $18, because each $18 each. So let me just write on the top $18 each. And then we multiply these two numbers together. 30 times 8, that would just be 240. And then 30 times 10, that would be 300. When added together, this would just be $540 total for these 30 books. And then we have 4 teachers. So 4 teachers. And then they split the cost evenly. So we have $540 in cost divided by the 4 teachers who are buying it for their students. When divided by 4, this would just equate to $135 each teacher paid. So each teacher paid. And that is your answer to problem 6. Problem 7. There are groups of students. If they stand in 14 equal rows, each row has 27 students. If they stand in 6 equal rows, how many students does each row have? First off, we are given the amount of students in total. If they stand in 14 equal rows, each row is 27 students. So all we have to do is multiply 14 and 27 together. 27 times 14, we can easily do this by first multiplying 27 and 4. 7 times 4 is 28. We carry over the 2. 2 times 4 equals to 8, plus 2 equals to 10. And then 14 becomes 10, so drop down to 0. And then 7 times 1 is still 7, and 2 times 1 is still 2. Finally, this is 378. So if they stand in 6 equal rows now, we have to divide this by 6. 37 would go into 6 times. So 37 minus 36 equals to 1, and drop down to 8 equals to 18. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So 63 students each row. Problem 8. In the product shown, B is a digit. The value of B is First, let's look at the rightmost side. 2 times b equals to 6 or 16. So knowing this, b has to be either 3 or 8 because 2 times 3 equals to 6 and 2 times 8 equals to 16 with a carryover. Therefore, let's try 3 first. If b is 3, then it's 32 times 73 equals to 6,396. So let's see if that's correct. We first do 2 times 3 equals to 6 and 3 times 3 equals to 9. So 32 times 3 equals to 96. And then 73 becomes 70, so drop down the 0. And then 7 times 2 equals to 14, carry over the 1. 3 times 7 equals to 21, that equals to 22. So 6 brings it down. 9 plus 4 equals to 3. And add another 1 to the 2 on the left, so 3, 3. So 3,336, that's obviously not correct because we still need around 3,000 more. So therefore, we know that it's 8. Just to make sure, let's see if 8 is correct. 82 times 78. We can do 2 times 8 first, which gives us 16. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 plus 1 equals to 65. And then carry over down a 0 because 78 becomes 70. And then 7 times 2 equals to 14. Carry over a 1. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 1 is 57. And then we know that this is 6,396. So the answer is 8. Problem 9. Put the right numbers in the blank. We first look at the bottom 2. If this is 2, then that means that the above number has to be 2 as well, which means that 30-something times something 2 has to equal to 72. And then what we can get from this is that 30-something times 2 has to equal to 72, because as we see here, that's the procedure of multiplying two-digit numbers. Therefore, this can only be 36 times 2 equals to 72. And then carrying it down, we further see that 7 plus something equals to 3, and this can only be 6. So if this can only be 6, then we can just figure out what the number on the top is. This would obviously just be 6 as well, because then 36 times 60, we would just drop the 0 right down here, and then 6 times 6 would equal to 36, and that's where the 6 would come from. And then 36 times 6, that would just be 216. And then we can just drop down and add these together, and eventually we would just get 2,232. And that's how you do the first one. We can move on to the second one. We know that if this bottom number is 8, then the top must be 8 as well. And if the top number is 8, then we know that something 4 times something has to equal to something that ends in 8 as well. We know that this part highlighted in green, in order for the middle number to be 0 and to be multiplied by 2, the only possible solution would have to be 54, because 54 times 2 would just be 108. And that's the only possible solution. Therefore, once we know that that is 54, it's very easy to solve the top now. If we know that, then we also know that this part must be 7, because 4 times 7 is 28, and since the 8 is at the bottom and the 2 is carried over. Therefore, we can just plug in the numbers 378, since originally 5 times 7 would be 35, but since the 2 is carried over, that would be 37. So then we just add the numbers together, and eventually it'd be 1,458. And finally, the last one, 60-something times something, and so on. We know that if the bottom number is 6, then the top is 6 again. And then we can find out what it is from here. The only possible solution that 60-something times something would still equal a two-digit number and have the units digit still be a 6 would just be 66 itself. So 66 times 1 would still be 66. And then once we're given that information, we also know that surprisingly, the bottom number is also a two-digit number. So in order to still do this, 66 must times 1 again to still be a two-digit number, or else if it was multiplied by 2, that would be a three-digit number. So therefore, this would be 66 again, and then added together, that would be 726. Problem 10. Compute 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way to 100. Hint, notice that 1 plus 100 is equivalent to 2 plus 99 equals to 3 plus 98, and so on. And then this is a trick discovered by the great mathematician Gauss when he was only 7 years old. In order to compute this, we first follow the hint. We notice that 1 plus 100 is 101, so 100 and 101. And the same thing goes for 99 and 2. This all equals to 101. So 1 plus 100 equals to 101. 99 plus 2 is also equivalent to 101. Same thing goes for 98 plus 3. We notice here that there are 50 pairs because 100 divided by 2, since there are 2 numbers in each pair, that would just be 50. So we know that there are 50 pairs. And then if there are 50 pairs, then we just have to multiply 50 by 101. So let's set that up. 101 times 50. First, all we have to do is put a 0 as the placeholder, and then we do 5 times 1, which is 5, 0 times 5, which is still 0, and 5 times 1 is 5. So 5,050. Therefore, the answer is 5,050 because as we see here, it stretches all the way to 100, and 100 divided by 2 equals to 50 pairs, since in each pair there are 2 numbers and each number has the sum of 101. Therefore, 101 times 50 is 5,050.